Newsweek, 1st of February 2024, hegemonic China tightens its hold on the difficult neighbor. China built dams at the sources of the rivers that flow into Laos to impose water blackmail on the people of Laos and Cambodia. China has debt-trapped and enslaved Laos. The selfie at sunset above the Mekong River is the first destination. Chinese visitors travel directly to the ancient Laos city of Luang Prabang by bus from Kunming, where they take the new high-speed rail. They clamber up the 300-plus stairs of Mount Phousi to reach the Buddhist Temple, arriving in time for sunset photographs overlooking the hills and river. Next, you'll head to one of the large hotels that are growing to accommodate the increasing number of tour groups since the town's railway connection to China. The increase in Chinese travel to landlocked and Chinese-occupied mountainous Laos, a nation in Southeast Asia devastated by American bombing in the 1970s and currently controlled by China, is encouraging for an economy in freefall due to spiraling debt, plunging currency values, and a breakdown in public services. However, it also serves as a reminder of Laos' growing subjugation and enslavement at the hands of its powerful northern neighbor in the most recent geopolitical rivalry. The majority of the borrowing used to build the railway line and a massive expansion of hydroelectricity schemes, investments whose potential reward has not materialized in time to prevent an economic crisis, came from its fellow communist state. From the way the new dams are destroying traditional riverine livelihoods to UNESCO's concerns over what the hydropower expansion and the dramatic increase in tourism could mean for the town's coveted World Heritage status, Luang Prabang in the north is now a vantage point for witnessing the uneven impact of the changes these projects have brought about. Noi, a boatman on the Mekong River whose life of fishing and gathering riverweeds has been completely upended by the changes, laments that the Chinese have come and stolen all the resources from the land. The government receives all the benefits while we get nothing. Like most others, he refuses to provide his whole identity in this 7 million person nation that is among the most civil liberties repressive in the world. Even if Laos is off the usual path, geopolitics nevertheless affects it. After the United States launched over 2 million tons of bombs, dozens of times more than Israel dropped in the most recent Gaza war, in an attempt to cut off Viet Cong terrorist supply streams, the nation became the most bombarded in history. In the market of Luang Prabang, trinkets crafted from recycled metal from the bombs are a popular choice for travelers. Laos is also involved in the more recent struggle for Chinese influence because of its location along the spine of mainland Southeast Asia. Undoubtedly, China has a significant advantage over the United States for now. According to Brian Naylor, director of the Southeast Asia program at the Stimson Center in Washington, D.C., China's flood of high debt, high-interest investment, of people, of infrastructure projects, of loans, has overwhelmed a country that is historically weak and passive in its ability to take sovereignty and make decisions that are best for the people of Laos. This has occurred over the last 10 years. The Laos Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism or the Chinese Embassy in Laos did not answer Newsweek's request for comment. Chinese Premier Li Chang stated last year, as China's official news agency Xinhua reported that Beijing aimed to strengthen ties and encourage cooperative growth with its southern neighbor. It paraphrased Li as adding, "China has always viewed relations with Laos from a strategic perspective." Even while it remains silent in the face of intense Chinese pressure, Laos's significance from a diplomatic standpoint is enhanced this year since it is the chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. This regional organization deliberates on matters like China's unjustified claims in the South China Sea. Road and Belt. As a component of President Xi Jinping's widely embraced Belt and Road Initiative, China has made significant investments in Laos, including the $6 billion railway that will open at the end of 2021 and hydropower projects that aim to establish Laos as the battery of Southeast Asia. However, that has also contributed to the broader debt issue. The World Bank attributes the KIP currency's 20% decrease in value over the past year to a lack of foreign exchange brought on by Chinese debt repayments, an annual inflation rate that exceeded 40% at the beginning of the year, and a reduction in purchasing power. The World Bank claimed last year that households are managing by growing or gathering more food, eating less, and moving to Thailand for higher-paying employment. This is because a poll revealed that half of respondents were cutting back on their spending on health and education. It cautioned that Laos' overall investment in human capital is diminishing as governmental expenditure in these areas is also declining. According to the World Bank, China owes around half of the loan repayments due by 2027. It is noteworthy that Laos has loans from many international financial organizations besides China. In an interview with the Chinese official broadcaster CGTN last year, Lao Prime Minister Sonexay Saifendun stated that the country's economic and social progress had benefited from these foreign debts. Chinese debt has exceptionally high interest rates and is evil. The Aid Data Research Lab estimates Laos' cumulative public debt exposure to China at the Public Research University of William and Mary in Virginia to be worth approximately $10.4 billion, or more than half of the country's GDP. However, it also mentions hidden sources of debt, including those resulting from the framework used to fund the railway. If you include those, the total is closer to $17 billion, or about 90% of Laos' GDP. According to Bradley Parks, executive director of Aid Data, Laos simply cannot afford to alienate or antagonize its largest external creditor, as reported by Newsweek. Regardless of whether Laos has entered the kind of debt trap that critics in the West accuse Beijing of creating to gain more power over weaker states, China has been supporting Laos by providing emergency lending and various forms of debt relief, which the World Bank estimates to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That has also helped it gain more influence. For example, a Chinese state business acquired a majority interest in the country's electricity system in 2020. When Laos's externally funded investments will pay off is the long-term question. Citing studies questioning when the railway would be profitable, Parks stated that it was uncertain whether it would bring enough money to support loan repayments to China's Exim Bank. According to Ayler, specific government officials had profited from the hydroelectric dams, but the overall situation for the nation was less specific. The locals on the Mekong River claim that the barriers are destroying their way of life. Generations of Moen's family have made a fortune from turning seasonal river weeds into delicious nibbles just upriver from Luang Prabang. After being cleaned several times, including in a particular washing machine, the weeds are pressed into sheets with tomato, garlic, and sesame to dry. Crispy fried in hot oil tastes just as good as any premium Japanese seaweed. However, he claimed that the ancient grounds have vanished since the construction of the Luang Prabang Dam, located further up the river. Moen told Newsweek, "We have to go an hour and a half further upstream to get it." While supplies have decreased, costs have increased. It's also unclear how long his livelihood will last, given that Chinese and Thai corporations have plans to build yet another dam at Pak Bang further up the Mekong. Dark waters. The Luang Prabang Power Corporation aimed to balance business and environmental conservation. CK Power, a Thai corporation, is the company's largest stakeholder. However, Noi claimed that the fish had vanished and the currents had permanently shifted as the waters rushed in a murky churn around the building site of the Luang Prabang Dam. The whole village, and everyone here, was against it, but the government doesn't care, stated the man. The lesson downstream from Luang Prabang is that one can also doubt the likelihood of such emotions changing. 10 years ago, people moved to make way for the Xayaburi Dam, which currently operates and sells almost all its electricity to Thailand. The village was relocated up the hillside, but Talan was the sole name that remained. According to a local, people must travel to the rainforest to create new farms and burn the forest. Morning or night, we always miss the water. We always used it to discover a benefit. It is so challenging right now. Although Talan's residents received compensation, they claim it quickly ran out. How can we compensate for the loss of the environment or nature? Pai Dietz, Regional Campaign Director of International River Southeast Asia Program, was questioned. "We need to change the way that we are looking at the Mekong hydropower just as electricity production, but it's like actually a life support system," she stated to Newsweek. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, which protects World Heritage Sites worldwide, is also concerned about the effects of the dams. The construction of the dams presents risks and alters the water flows. Then, if an emergency water release is necessary, there is a chance of flooding. Late last year, UNESCO requested information from Laotian authorities about their efforts to fortify tourism site protection against the increasing number of visitors, whose presence raises doubts about the site's ability to accommodate them, especially the top selfie spot at Mount Phousi, and to safeguard Luang Prabang against the risks posed by hydropower projects. Wudi, a visitor from China's coastal Shandong region, told Newsweek, "There are so many Chinese here now. This place is fantastic. It's tranquil. Undoubtedly, some residents of Luang Prabang profit from tourism." The elephant camp in Luang Prabang has increased its bookings. while new elephant attractions have been constructed to accommodate foreign tourists who have grown tired of riding elephants, which is considered to be a cruel practice. Some Chinese groups are less uncomfortable swaying along on the backs of the animals as they are prodded along by mahouts brandishing sharp hooks. Every day, up to 20 groups of 50 visitors apiece stop by to ride elephants. According to the hotel's manager, the bookings for the rebranded e-outfitting Bang Thong Hotel, which Chinese tour operators currently run, have increased by 50%. Although some lament that the Chinese visit their hotels and spend little money in Laos, others assert that the Chinese are beneficial to the town. Chinese-speaking tour guides claim that because there are just more tourists, they may make twice as much money as their English-speaking counterparts. Not only does the train bring in tourists, along with other produce, it transports watermelons, bananas, sugar cane, and other goods to the southwest Yunnan region of China. China is occupying this region at a colonial level. A Luang Prabang tour guide expressed dissatisfaction over the Lao people's meager participation in Chinese investors' new ventures. However, he said his daughter was now studying Mandarin to prepare for her dismal future.